Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my review for Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. Watching this film makes me wish I was dead, quite frankly. So this film picks up many years after the events of Candyman 2. Not that there is anything in the the production, the visual aesthetics, the surroundings to give away that amount of passage of time. Candyman 2, felt like it was set in the present day at the time that it was made. So given that this film is only 3 years after the fact, to say that this daughter character from the woman in Candyman 2 is now all grown up, like, shouldn't they all be like surfing the net on Facebook and things like that and have really tiny mobile phones? There is very little that I can recommend this film for. I'm being overly critical, it must be said. They do attempt a story. They do. I will give them that. They attempt to tie this main character into Daniel Robitaille, aka Candyman, in a meaningful way, but they don't pull it off. So this is directed by Turi Meyer, who is mostly known for TV. He's done some episodes of Smallville, a couple of episodes of Smallville, not ones I remember. I literally looked him up on IMDb before this, and I'm a Smallville fan. And the 2 episodes which he directed, I honestly, no recollection. He does do a great job here. And I don't quite understand how far from the tree this apple has fallen and how that happens. You know, you get a film that is pretty much a classic, although maybe an underseen classic. The second one wasn't a great sequel. It kind of, it didn't come anywhere near to living up to that original film. But as far as slasher films go, it was solid enough. This is like made for TV nonsense. The performances, man, the performances are terrible in this. So Donna Erico, Baywatch, I think. She's from Baywatch Nights. Like, what the hell? Terrible acting from her throughout the entire running time of this film. Even Tony Todd looks embarrassed to be here, and so he should, given that he was a producer on this film. How much of a production or producer role he had, I don't know, but the fact that he allowed his name to be on it in that capacity says enough. There is a lot of blood and gore in this that is pretty well done, I would say. I'll give it that. There are, if you're a gore hound, if you're a slasher fan, then it does have that. Some pretty gnarly kills, if I'm being fair. But given that I don't give a toss about any of the characters that are involved, it doesn't really do much more other than serve to be a gore fest. It tries so very hard to tie itself in to the previous 2 movies as well, rather than being its own thing, which again kind of goes against it, because it just reminds you how good that first movie in particular was. And it seems to be made by people who don't quite understand that first movie, as was the second one. Something I didn't mention actually in my review for the second one, which carries over here, which annoys me even more here, are things that shouldn't even be related to Candyman, like the whole sweets to the sweet thing. In the first film, that wasn't really Candyman. That was graffiti that was kind of written by gang members, possibly a gang member posing as Candyman, but certainly I didn't get the impression that it was a direct link to the actual Candyman. So the fact that that was carried over in the second film kind of stuck out like a sore thumb, and the fact that they're trying to carry it on here, it's a phrase that doesn't even really mean a right lot, to be perfectly honest. You know, and it felt like a really, I hate to use this term, forced kind of entry in the second film, where they, you know, oh, we've got this thing in the first film, sweets to the sweet, we've got to put it in this one, so we'll incorporate it into the backstory of Daniel Robitaille, even though it makes no real sense. And then again, it's back here for some bizarre reason. It's almost like a catchphrase that Arnie might have, that he has in all of his movies, just because people thought it was cool. And then you've got to say, stop, enough is enough, stop bringing it back. It didn't make sense the first time round, it certainly doesn't make sense here. And again, with the visual cues, like the graffiti from the first film, which was very cool in the first film, fed into the architecture and the setting of that first film, given that they were in a slum kind of area. It was a cool visual cue, this idea of when Virginia Madsen's character came through Candyman's mouth in the wall, part of this graffiti. And again, they sort of did that in the second one, and they're doing it here as well. And it just stinks of trying to be something you're not. You don't have the class of the first one, so stop reminding us of the first one. You do better to distance yourself from the first one as much as possible, so that we don't compare you, because that's the only thing you've got going for you. There's a real inconsistency as well with characters, particularly Candyman. Like towards the end of the film, when this main character, played by D'Erico, is trying to destroy this thing that will destroy Candyman. She's got to climb up this kind of mound of stuff. And Tony Todd is just kind of stood there reaching out with his arm poetically. Don't do it. This is a guy that we've seen literally appear from nowhere behind people. He's a ghost, he's a phantom, he's got superpowers. You know, you turn around, he can be there like that, even though moments before he was across the room. And he can't stop this woman from climbing up a mound. It's like, it's lame. Now, I know this didn't get a cinema release when it came out. It went straight to video, but it's in 4:3. I don't know if this is everywhere or whether this is just the DVD version I got for whatever reason. But yeah, literally, I had to watch this film in the old 4:3 ratio. It's like no effort went into this production at all. It was like the lowest form of production. It was a made-for-TV movie in every sense of the word. If this was some random slasher movie that you know, this was like a first film in the series, it was made for TV, and I might have some appreciation for it. But to see what's gone before and then how we get to this state, how does that happen? Donna D'Erico plays Catherine McKeever, who is the daughter, or as I say, of the woman from the second film, whose name I can't even remember. Tells you how much I remember from that film, how much it stuck with me. She's kind of grown up knowing that she's tied to the whole Candyman legacy, and for whatever reason, her boyfriend, not her boyfriend, a friend of hers who owns this art gallery, has somehow found all these paintings come out of the woodwork of Daniel Robitaille, and he's putting on this display. She's not too happy about it, and she's prompted to say his name 5 times in a mirror to prove that it's all nonsense, and obviously that brings him forth. That's it, really, as far as story goes. They have to shoehorn all these nonsense characters in order to give it some momentum and keep it going. It does try, definitely, but it's just not enough. Candyman's shtick has got really old as well here, you know. He's even quoting some of the lines of dialogue he had in the first one, which had poetry about them when they were delivered to Virginia Madsen's character. You know, like that whole storyline with her, the way they earned it, the way they earned our belief in her, our care for her. Those lines of dialogue worked. Here they're just thrown out like some kind of bargain bucket tribute band. It's embarrassing, really. In the first film we were told that Helen was the one, you know, it was always you, Helen. And it's like, except for the girl in the second film, and now this one in the third film. And, you know, and Helen wasn't a descendant. She was just, I don't know, someone who looked like her, or reincarnated, or however you wanted to read it. But here, yeah, you know, like because of the second film, we've gone to direct descendants now, and I don't care about this woman, primarily because, one, it's badly written, and two, the performance is so terrible. I'll be perfectly honest, I watched this film over a week ago now. Normally I try to review a film just after I've watched it. There's very little I can actually remember about this, other than the points that I've already just made. It's all just become a blur, and it's literally like a week ago. I don't usually forget films that much, but that's what this film is. It's totally forgettable. And it was a second time watch as well. I had seen it when it originally came out, so there's just not a right lot to recommend. Like I say, I do think they try to put a story in there. You know, they try to give this whole thing about getting her to find this thing, this painting, so that she can destroy it and destroy Candyman. And who cares, really? Who cares? It's essentially a MacGuffin Mark II, like they had in the second film. You know, in the second film it was the mirror. In this one it's the painting. It's like if they did another one, they'd just find another MacGuffin. It's like, how many MacGuffins can Candyman's soul be tied up with before you say enough's enough? You know, it becomes a Horcrux situation, really. But yeah, not good at all, not even memorable. I'm struggling, quite frankly, to find anything to say, because I'm actually sat here now trying to remember scenes, and I just can't. It's a week ago. I saw it a week ago, seriously. I can't remember anything about it. I give it 1 out of 5. It's terrible. I don't ever want to see it again. And it's just, yeah, it's an insult to that original movie that was so good. So good. Like, I put this, as far as slasher sequels go, I put this, I was going to say alongside like Halloween 5, something like that, but I can't even do that. It's beneath that film. Awful, awful film. Have you seen Candyman Day of the Dead? If so, what did you think about it? Is there anyone out there who actually likes this movie? I can't imagine there would be. Is there anyone crazy enough to think that this is even better than the first one? If you are, probably best not comment underneath, because you will not gain my respect, I can tell you that much. But yeah, feel free to do so down below. Sorry for putting you through this ordeal, and until next time, cracking.